Yeah, it was an awesome weekend. The play was good. Obviously, getting 2 sweeps is good, and I mean, we played a lot of good volleyball. We had some areas that I thought we need to continue to get better in, but to get to go 4-0 and then all sweeps, I'm really pleased with that. And then we had an extra day because we usually play Friday, Saturday, but St. John's needed to move the game to Sunday, and we saw a Broadway show. Just had a blast. The weather was great. It really was just an awesome, awesome weekend. We saw the Michael Jackson show. And we had, 18-year-old and we had a 70-year-old with us, and everyone loved it. And I think our players were like, oh, they picked Michael Jackson because they grew up in the 80s, and it was so good. The choreography, the dance, the music, it was awesome. That's right. Let's just talk about that all day.
Yeah. Friday you said you wanted your team to go into St. John's with an attitude of going for it because this is a good team and you want to not play like the target's on your back, play like you're chasing someone. Did you get the sense that your team executed that from a mentality standpoint?
Well, I think they were ready to go for sure. I think our older players had kind of gotten in the ear of like, hey, this team's going to play well, be ready to go. The other thing is during the introductions, their hype video, a good portion of it was highlights against us, and it ended, I'm not kidding, with like 4 or 5 seconds of them cheering after they beat us. And our player, I mean, the players looked at me afterwards and they were like, "Let's go!" I mean, it was like a hype video for us. They did not did not enjoy being the focal point of that hype video.
What kind of fight did you see? Obviously, you know, had a couple set points. St. John's fights back. You win the first. Second set, you fight off a couple
Yep.
set points, come back to win the set. What did you just kind of see in those? And then the way you finished off the third.
Well, I mean, games like you said, 1 and 2 could have gone either way. I mean, we were up 19-24. It just can't happen, right? Like, so I've watched that film. We have a staff meeting just a bit. We're gonna watch it again. Like, we can't, we can't have those things happen. In set two, we actually were in control most of that set again, and then gave up a run. So, I know that's the nature of the sport, but as a coach, you're trying to make sure if one error, it doesn't, sometimes we'd have back-to-back errors. So we've got to get better at that. But I did like, especially in the second game, we made some big plays to win that game. We had some big blocks. Kiana had a really big swing. Keeley had some big serves. So I was pleased that we stepped up. And then in set three, we were good. And then about midway through, I just thought they folded. So, but it's great to battle through some difficult situations. St. John's is a good team, and we have great respect for them. They're leading the league in blocking. It was a really big team across the front, and so those things are good for us to work on too.
Kind of good to see. Again, you mentioned the blocking, a bigger team knowing what you might face come
Mhm.
NCAA tournament time.
Yeah, I mean, their setter's 6'3", and Rostelli, their stud, is 6'4". So both of our outsides were going against big kids, and then they're 6'1", 6'2" plus across the board. So you know, it's really important that especially Nora and Ava face those sort of blocks so that they figure out ways to get kills. Ava struggled at some point early, and then she kind of figured it out, which is typical. And then I thought Nora, I mean, she carried way too much load yesterday, but did a really nice job of. They play a different defense than anyone in the country does, so we'd spent some time preparing for that, and I thought Nora did a nice job exploiting some of the differences in that defense.
So are you unscarable? I saw Jayla tried to
Yeah,
get
no
you on the
kidding.
bus. You said Ellie popped out of a trash can one time and didn't get you. Are you just
Yeah,
unfazed?
I think I'm in trouble because I kind of lit a spark with them. So I have a feeling something bad's going to be in my future. But I did talk a little smack. But they tried and they failed. Let's call it. I mean, did you see the video? I didn't flinch. They were really trying.
24-19, losing that lead is scary.
Yeah, no kidding.
You mentioned you like to segment the schedule up for them just to kind of help them hone in on a
Mhm.
stretch. But there are 6 matches left, and it feels like with 4 of them at home, and then if you put yourself in a good position there, you're going to play for a championship at the end of it on the road. Um, what do you, what do you, how are you bracketing that up for the team as they prepare for this last stretch?
Well, we talk a lot about the month of October. That's one of our preseason mantras. When we're in October, we talk about seasons are made or broken in October. And we went undefeated in October, so that was definitely something that we celebrated. we talked about 2 weekends on the road is a really tough grind. And so accomplishing that. And then we did what you just talked about with the team yesterday of okay, so now you hit November, the adrenaline starts to kick back in because now you see the light at the tunnel. But we got to go one match at a time. They know that. We talk about that all the time. I always say it's like a syllabus. If you look at it in one big chunk, it gets daunting. But if you take it Providence and then UConn and we do it one at a time, it's a little bit more palatable. And all of these teams, particularly a couple of them, UConn comes to mind, St. John's comes to mind. These are very good teams that are going to be coming to our home court. And both of those teams have played well at our place at different times. So we don't have a cakewalk to that final weekend by any stretch. So, we just got to go back and get better. I think sometimes as a coach, I sometimes think I'm a better coach after a loss. So that's one of the things that I've talked to our staff about. We have to mentally go into loss mode of how do we advance the players and the team right now to be the best that we can be in a month.
What did you learn from that first UConn match that are definitely areas you need to fix when you face them again this weekend?
That was a long time ago. UConn has two really good middles, and then they're really good on the outside. So again, a team like that's they're dynamic, they're athletic, they're not huge, but they've got a lot of good athletes, and they have good parity. So again, what our first context does, if we can disrupt them from a serving standpoint, that neutralizes them quite a bit. But their outsides, if they're one-on-one, they're going to terminate at a high rate, similar to our outsides. And then their middles, when we didn't send two with them, they terminated at a high rate. So, we're gonna, and then they've got a back row attack coming. So, I haven't dove into their film since the last time we played them, but I've no doubt. I know they've won 6 of 7, so they've got to be playing well. You know what I love is not peanut M&Ms, although those are good. The peanut butter M&Ms. Yeah, we actually went to the M&M factory, and they have a whole wall of different types of M&Ms. So I got my kids a litany of different, from like crispy to pretzel to the peanut butter. So I was a popular mom last
You get
night.
to keep those ones though, right?
Yeah, I did actually steal some and put a stash together for myself. So.
Are you handing out candy tonight, or do you still get the trick or treat as the youngest still?
Yeah, the youngest is trick or treating. I said I want to go with the moms, and she was like, So I don't know. We are hosting Pizza Prior. I may try to tag along. We'll see. So, thanks, guys.
Thank you.